It's time for Recipe of the Day. I bread chicken and put it in the air fryer quite often, and sometimes I'm following a recipe, sometimes I'm just kind of doing it on a whim. When I'm following a recipe, this is the one that I follow. It is from my site. It was developed by somebody else, but I do love it. And it is crucially because of those panko breadcrumbs, which are just so light and fluffy and crispy. So definitely use those. You can get them at any grocery store near the other breadcrumbs. And they're just a Japanese breadcrumb made of crustless bread that's dried. And so it's like these bigger, flakier pieces. So this recipe is for chicken tenders. So the best thing to do is to buy the chicken tenderloins, which is not the same as chicken breast. It's actually a little bit more tender than chicken breast, but it also can be a little bit more expensive. So if you just want to get chicken breast instead, that's fine. And then you just cut them into the strips, or you can use boneless, skinless chicken thighs also and cut those into strips or into chunks like pieces. If they're thicker than the tenderloins, it could take a little bit longer to cook, but it's probably going to be okay if you're kind of keeping that general chicken finger, chicken tender kind of size in mind as you're cutting them. Okay. So you're going to get the air fryer preheating. I don't always say to preheat the air fryer because it does heat up so quickly, but it does help with getting things really crispy in this one. So preheat it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the recipe says to spray the basket with cooking spray, but since we first had this recipe on the site, we've learned that that can cause a buildup in the air fryer over time. So it's better to just sort of brush some oil in the basket a little bit, or you could use one of those parchment liners that are made for the air fryer, and then things won't stick on there. So that is your best bet. But if you want to, you can spray the basket with cooking spray. It's just going to be over time that buildup is going to form. Okay. Now, while your air fryer is preheating, get out a bowl and mix together a quarter cup of those panko breadcrumbs with half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of paprika, a quarter teaspoon of black pepper, a quarter teaspoon of garlic powder, and a quarter teaspoon of onion powder. Mix that up. And then in a separate bowl, beat together an egg. And we're doing 1 pound of chicken tenderloins. So this is going to be enough coating for those. So then get out your chicken tenderloins or whatever chicken you're using and pat it dry with a paper towel. And then you're going to dip the chicken in that beaten egg and then place it into the panko coating and kind of flip it around. And I find it really helpful to like put it in the panko, flip it over, and then with my hands, I scoop some of the panko over top of the chicken and then push down. And that really helps the panko adhere on both the top and the bottom. Once you've done as many of those as will fit in your air fryer basket with a bit of room around each one so they're not touching and the air can circulate. My air fryer is a little bit on the larger side and I can fit a good 6 of them in there. So however many you can fit, and then they are cooking for 5 minutes, and then you flip them over and cook them for another 5 minutes. And, cut into one, make sure it's not pink inside, but they should be done. They should be crispy on the outside and delicious. You just need a great dipping sauce. I'm obsessed with that honey dill sauce that they have in Manitoba and other parts of Canada where I'm from. That is the only sauce served with chicken tenders. I will link to the honey dill recipe for you. That's my favorite, but you can do barbecue sauce or honey mustard or whatever you like and get dipping delicious air fryer chicken tenders. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is November 4th of 2024. You can also get the link in our Facebook group. I post the recipe of the day link there every morning, so you can always find what I'm talking about. Very convenient if you're not already part of that Facebook group. What are you waiting for? Head over there now. It's facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. I look forward to seeing you there. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.